Hello folks, this is old Tumbleweed coming to you again from downtown Gibsonton, Florida, Showtown, USA. This is my second video. I hope you folks punched in the first one right there. It was sort of an introduction of what I'm going to do over the period of a couple of months. Those of you who didn't look at the first one, you can go on the computer and punch up Donald Stratton. It's Donald Stratton is what it is. You can see my picture on there, and then you can punch it in, and this is two. This is second one. So I told you folks about where I was born at, and my birthday and all that. And a couple of you are probably wondering, how did I get from Nebraska down to Florida? Well, I told you I was going to tell you some stories. Well, my father was killed in 1945 when I was 6 months old. He was a World War I veteran, fought in World War I, and he kind of went out west and opened up a little radio shop, in Broken Bow, and I guess he was pretty popular. I went back there when I was about 20 and asked questions about him, and folks had good things to say about him. Oh yeah, Hank Stratton. Number one. I guess he sang on the radio on Saturday, 12 o'clock. I guess it was a half-hour program. He sang live. People known him as Hank Stratton. He fixed radios and he sang on the radio. And some of them old people told me, well, I had done some little investigation out there, that when Hank came on the radio on Saturday, everything stopped. If I was milking a cow, I stopped milking. If I was plowing a field, I got to the barn and turned the radio on. If I was going down a highway in my car, I'd turn the radio on, 12 o'clock. He's pretty popular. So when he had his accident in 45, it was quite devastating in that little town. And along with my father, my brother was also killed. The fire happened in the radio shop. I guess the place caught on fire. I didn't exactly know how it caught on fire. I think somebody said once they had a can of, or a bottle of gasoline on the table, and it fell off and broke, and the fumes went through the building and blew up, and my father got out, but my little brother, which would have been my older brother, he was older than I was still in there. So he went back in to get him out, and I guess the fire just consumed the whole place. And my little brother died first, and then my father knew that he had died in his mind, I guess, and he died several hours later. Now this is reports that I'm getting from people that I talked to over the years. But anyway, the story goes back to how did I get to Florida? Well, for 9 years, my mother, more than my father, she traveled a few places in life. She finally settled back in Broken Bow, and we had a little house that she rented, and we had a pump outside where you pumped the water and carried the bucket on the table there. And I'll tell you a little incident of what happened to me. And my job, of course, was to carry the bucket in, put it on the table, and it was a hot day. And I had been playing outside in the backyard. I come in, well, I wanted a drink of water. I could just barely see over into the bucket. I noticed there was a fly in the bucket. Boy, I was thirsty. So I just kind of reached in there and got me a spoonful of water, and I drank it. Then I got me a chair and I pulled it over there. I want to get that fly out of there, see, but I was thirsty, so I went ahead and took me a drink first. I pulled a chair over and crawled up there and got up on the chair and looked in the bucket. Guess what? That fly was gone. Well, you know where the fly went, right down the old hatch. Well, anyway, it was a pretty good little childhood there. I mean, I went to school, and things were nice, but obviously my mother was lonely. She had been widowed for, I guess, 8 or 9 years. And back then they had a thing called the Lonely Hearts Club, I guess. And she was a good writer. And by the way, my mother was deaf. She could not hear. She had lost her hearing when she was 2 or 3 years old, I was told, by typhoid fever. Now, my grandfather was an engineer on the railroad. And I'm getting this from my mother, so they said that they was on the, they had behind the engine, they had their own living quarters. And they was up in Minnesota. And so they had, she was getting ready to have a baby. So they stopped in a little town called Winona, Minnesota. It runs north and south along the Mississippi River over in Minnesota area. And I guess they stopped and she got off and went and had the baby. He went on to deliver the train. Then he come back and she got back on the train, and that's what it was. But they had a home. I guess her home base was in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's another story. That's you know, something way before my life. But anyway, getting back to Broken Bow, life was good. I was 8, 9, went to school up to 3rd grade. So my education in life was not from the schooling. I didn't get much. But she wrote these letters. And then one day, this fella pulls up in a pickup. Probably a 45, no, about a 47 Ford pickup. Got out of the truck, come over to us, introduced himself as our new daddy. Mama had been writing to him, and I guess she invited him out, and that's when all hell broke loose. So anyway, we, okay, so I guess we're going to have to cut the video short. My wife's pointing up at the clock. We're only going to make these videos for 5 or 6 minutes long. So I will go ahead and explain to you how I got to Florida. Anyway, all hell broke loose from that day on. My life changed completely. And the next chapter of my life was exciting, but miserable. And it turned out to be awfully bad. So if you want to hear more, you just go ahead and punch in to my website, Donald Stratton. Prescribe to my video on YouTube, and you'll hear what I got to say. Now, this is Don Stratton coming to you from downtown Gibsonton, Florida. See you again. So long.